Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this case, Rimac is going combustion mode. Of course, it's not completely going yet, but that is apparently on the table due to the fact of very weak hypercar EV sales, and the demand for them has properly gone down. And I mean, it was bound to happen, guys. I mean, come on, in terms of hypers on their own and supers and whatnot, the entire automobile proper sector on its own, of course forgetting the fact of the basic daily drivers, we are just looking at supers and hypers, and for the proper soul of a super and hyper to exist and exist on a whole nother level such that people want it and every single person wants it, the proper soul and character is a proper internal combustion engine. I don't care even if it's electric assisted with a complete hybrid powertrain, a proper presence of an internal combustion engine is very much crucial for that part. And well, Rimac is completely on the other end because they obviously make complete all electric cars, but of course that exception has been made with the upcoming Rimac Yugo because that's going to get a complete 2 liter or a 1.9 liter diesel engine. But nevertheless, you get my point. And now apparently due to the fact of very weak hypercar EV demand, and of course that was bound to happen given the fact of course I am not saying the Rimac Nevera, but in fact the Rimac Nevera and the Lotus Evija and the Pininfarina Battista are the only 3 electric hypercars, and in fact the only 3 electric cars in the entire world that actually respect due to their proper blistering performance. But sadly that's the only thing that electric cars offer. It's the proper blistering performance and the fact that they can glue you to your seat in a matter of milliseconds. That's the only thing that they can give you in terms of the fact that you're literally paying a 7-figure sum for a car that puts out 1900 horsepower and can glue you to your seat that quick. But sadly it doesn't give you the exact soul and feel and the proper experience that a proper hypercar grants you. And by a hypercar, I'm not saying this is not a hypercar, it doesn't fall into the proper category of the proper old school meaning of hypercar, which properly meant loud cars with an internal combustion engine firing on all pistons, fully going flat out and just completely being loud and obnoxious like most hypers and supers are. And that is what makes a hyper or a super, and that's why Rimac is officially properly taking that step and obviously putting that on the map. But of course they had to put it, and Marty Rimac being a proper true car guy at heart, he knows what's to be done, and hence this was his actual statement. People at the top end of the sector want to differentiate themselves, which is true. I mean, of course 1900 all electric horsepower with the power going to all 4 wheels, not at all bad. You're getting proper full blown straight line speed, but when there's an engine in the back and that can hum all the way up and redline as high as possible, that's always going to be the proper soul picking for a proper hypercar. And of course let's continue on. Rimac isn't exclusively electric, it's doing whatever is most exciting at the time. And well, of course the proper hypercar EV market on its own is very much taken up by only Pininfarina, Rimac, and I don't know what other brand to be honest, but the most dominated ones are of course Rimac and Pininfarina with the Rimac Nevera, and of course from the Pininfarina you got the Battista and the all new B95 that came out a couple of months ago last year. But nevertheless you get my point, and this exact statement was also a very proper good metaphor said by Marta himself, where he said an Apple Watch can do everything better than an analog timepiece. Of course it can do 1,000 more things, it can do them more efficiently of course, and it's a lot more precise, and it can measure your heart rate, blah blah blah. But nobody would pay $200,000 for an Apple Watch. And I mean, in this very specific metaphor, if you literally just compare an Apple Watch to, let's say, a Rolex, the proper thing that will attract attention and that will gather a massive eye to the piece is obviously a proper Rolex on its own, or you can take whatever watch you want, Audemars Piguet, Richard Mille, whatever. But nevertheless the proper metaphor speaks for itself, where it says that you can do it quicker, faster, and be more precise and be more accurate, but the soul of what exists in a proper internal combustion engine powered car, thereby that can never be replicated by any electric car on the face of the earth ever. And that on its own is pure facts to begin with. And well, let's continue on. The regulators and some OEMs, i.e. manufacturers, push it so much that the narrative has changed, and thereby they're pushing stuff on us that we don't want, i.e. the proper shoving down the people's throats of the complete EV propaganda and the bullshit theory that it's good for the environment. I mean, first off, who gives a shit about the environment? And secondly, to even create one of these stupid lithium ion batteries, it deteriorates the complete level and complete environment way more than one internal combustion does over the course of multiple years. And of course let's carry on, we can do the rant while going through. So people get a little bit repulsed by it, and thereby this whole forced application. And of course he's also said that he's completely against it, and he thinks that everything has to be based on merit, and thereby the product has to be better. So Mate, of course, being a proper true car enthusiast and a proper car guy at heart, he knows what's the right thing to do, and the fact that he's literally put this idea of completely, of course not completely going internal combustion engine in terms of Rimacs, but making the complete brand not just exclusive to electric cars, that on its own is a massive green flag for Rimac and a very good thing for the car community itself, because of course the proper dying breed of the or massive flame spitting and V12s is a very big thing, but nevertheless we don't want to lose out on the internal combustion engine anytime soon. And of course a couple marquees such as Mercedes-Benz and Aston Martin have gone back on their word, such that they initially said that by 2030 they would be going completely electric and of course depleting the complete production of internal combustion engines. Yet a couple weeks ago both of them announced that they will keep on making the internal combustion engine for as long as legally possible. So thereby that itself shows that the proper, not drastic but a gradual proper decrease in the proper demand for hypercar, not just hypercar EVs but EVs in general, and not to mention the complete Tesla Cybertruck debacle where that thing is a literal complete piece of shit box on its own. But nevertheless we'll leave that out of the topic. But nevertheless Mate knows what's to be done, and the fact that we could very much be getting a complete internal combustion engine proper Rimacs, or of course it could very much be a hybrid. If you ask me, I think it will be a hybrid because the proper electric capabilities and the blistering performance that comes from an electric motor by Rimac is properly monstrous to begin with. So if you ask me, the proper possibility of a hybrid hypercar by Rimac is very much on the table and very much in sight in the near future. But nevertheless, a massive green light and a massive thumbs up to Mate Rimac to officially put this option on the table and make Rimac completely non-exclusive to electric cars only. And well, of course, no disrespect to the Nevera, because that thing is a proper electric powerhouse that can power down to the most blistering and neck-breaking speeds way more quicker than most hypercars that inhabit this planet. But nevertheless, we as car guys, we want the proper hum of complete full pistons firing on all charges, just completely being as loud and as aggressive and as obnoxious to piss off the Karens, as well as put a smile on kids' faces. And by kids, I also mean us car guys. And well, what do you guys think? It's a massive green flag for the car community and a massive big positive for Rimac to properly bring this on the table and massively consider it. Of course, he's not yet completely fully put this motion into flow, but if you ask me, we are not far away from seeing that happen. And well, the Rimac proper internal combustion engine or the proper hybrid hypercar by Rimac could very much be within our sights. And don't forget the 1:6:90 rule, where Toyota properly crunched the numbers and they brought out the statistic that the exact number or the proper amount of resources used to create one complete all-electric battery powered EV can also be used to create 6 complete full-on plug-in hybrid EVs, and the exact same amount can also be used to create 90 non-plug-in hybrid EVs. So that itself shows that the proper full-on effect of literally just mining in one full all-electric vehicle on and the proper resources to create that deteriorates the environment way more than the proper internal combustion engine, and the proper statistic that you can create 6 plug-in hybrid EVs, and further on you can also create, with the same amount of resources, you can create 90 non-plug-in hybrid EVs. I mean, that itself shows that the proper answer to the future of having a complete green future, or that's what people like to call it, the proper answer to that are not electric cars but hybrid cars. And well, what do you guys think? And of course, the proper full-on hypercar by Rimac, the proper internal combustion engine powered car, i.e. the complete hybrid proper Rimac hypercar, is very much in sights. And of course, a massive hats off to Mate Rimac. And well, what do you guys think? Comment below. And well, thanks a lot for watching. Remember to that sub button and click the bell to ensure you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks a lot for watching. I see ya.